My task here is to look at, due to the nature of my portfolio within Eudoxia, is to look at leveraging multidisciplinary research in establishing research communities across the divide. Here, it is all about looking at multidisciplinary research opportunities that can be exploited in terms of bettering the lives of our communities. And in that aspect, I'm looking at the need, for example, for cross-regional and multidisciplinary research communities. Because in an increasingly interconnected world, as the President alluded to earlier on, the grand challenges that we face from global health crisis to environmental sustainability, and this brings in the previous speaker in terms of toxicity, toxicology, demands a collective and multidisciplinary approach across continents. Here, it is seen that we can have a collective, or we can form communities that are multidisciplinary in approach across our continents. Europe, Asia, and Africa, they have unique strengths, unique resources, and also unique challenges. So collaborative research uniting these regions can address global issues more effectively. There is a need to unite researchers across these regions and disciplines to break down academic, geographical, and cultural divides. There is power in multidisciplinary and cross-regional collaboration. For example, we could combine, or we can combine perspectives, we can combine methodologies and resources from various disciplines and regions. For example, you could look at successful collaborations between Asia, tech innovation, African environmental research, and European medical sciences. These are possibilities which were evident in the presentation of the previous speaker. When researchers across Europe, Asia, and Africa collaborate, they bring diverse cultural, academic, and practical insights. Ayurveda, for example, this enriches the research output and impact in our communities. Of course, we need to understand the divide, where disciplinary divides can mean that researchers in specific fields, they often work in silos, and that regrettably limits their perspectives. We can also see that sometimes we have geographical divides where European, Asian, and African researchers do face challenges related to distance, communication, and access to shared platforms, although efforts are being put into enhancing technology so that we could have platforms such as this very conference. That is an effort by Eudoxia Research University to decrease that distance and hence reduce that divide and make opportunities for multidisciplinary engagement. Sometimes we can have cultural and institutional divide, which is due to variations in research cultures, language, and institutional priorities across regions. And this may create additional barriers, which we must be aware of and try to work towards reducing these barriers. So, yes, there are challenges to building multidisciplinary and cross-regional communities. But as we said, we want to reduce this culture of silos. We can understand that there will be language differences, there will be differences in terminologies and research priorities, and that may hinder collaboration. And sometimes we could also have what we can call institutional resistance, where universities and research bodies will often prioritize their own local or national research agendas such that multidisciplinary cross-regional engagements are put at a lower level, but efforts can be encouraged to look at upping the game in that respect. Yes, resources. So resource disparity, these would be imbalances in the access to funding, although Professor Jelani referred actually let us know that there are channels that can be followed to access the funding. It's all about knowledge, knowledge sharing, and that's what we are doing now. Technology could be a hindrance, a challenge, and infrastructure across these regions, which can slow but not stop collaboration. So I am very optimistic in that respect. An example of these challenges could be currently a lack of joint European, Asian, African research projects due to logistical and funding constraints. If present, they are not so many and well-known amongst us as upcoming researchers, and hungry for research funding, hungry for guidance in as far as accessing these funds is concerned. But there are benefits of this multidisciplinary research community establishment, in the sense that we will benefit in terms of broader perspectives, where we are saying collaborating across these three subcontinents can bring unique perspectives and problem-solving approaches due to the differences and uniqueness of each of these continents and the challenges that we face that could give us broader perspectives of any given problem. There is also a possibility of faster innovation where cross-regional and interdisciplinary teams can tackle issues faster and more creatively by addressing local and global challenges from multiple standpoints. For example, we have Africa's biodiversity research, which is collaborating with Asian data scientists and European ecologists to develop sustainable environmental policies. We have seen very recently the COVID, and now it's Mpox, dengue, etc., where there is a need to respond to an outbreak of a pandemic, where we could leverage medical expertise from Europe and technological innovation from Asia, India included, and community health insights from Africa. So this would show us that there is a lot of benefiting if we can have these cross-regional and multidisciplinary research communities. Now, how do we bridge this divide? In my view, there are key strategies for collaboration, where one, we could establish regional hubs where we develop joint research centers across Europe, Asia, and Africa. For example, we could have something under Eudoxia Research University. Very recently, I noticed that Eudoxia has even gone ahead and facilitating accommodation, conference halls, and all this is in a bid to try and bridge that kind of divide. And it could also do this by promoting interdisciplinary conferences where we regularly host interdisciplinary conferences just like this one and symposia with participants from these regions where it is a sustained effort to have the participation of representatives from these regions, either through virtual meetings or through physical, where we could have a summer school, research conference, a physical one, on a regional basis, and that could very much bridge that divide. Yes, we need to share information, shared databases within the research community, where we create platforms for open access research data, open access, and publications that will transcend regional barriers. I'm sure here we can see that this will come down to the needs for funding, but we need to have the establishment of these communities, even if it is at a small or low level, it is something that will grow to a big research hub. So international funding agencies include European Horizon 2020, Asian Development Bank, African Union initiatives that support cross-regional research. The list is not exhaustive. There are many others, but it is possible if we can find the right channels. Sometimes there is need for joint funding initiatives where we need to identify and engage in multi-region funding proposals that address challenges common to all the three regions, such as public health, environment and environmental sustainability, and infrastructure development. Infrastructure development here, we could be in terms of communication, it could be in terms of development of laboratories, research centers. All these would be we should look at how we can jointly fund these. For example, we have a joint European, African, Asian research grants that could be aimed at developing sustainable agricultural practices in the context of climate change. Now, technology is another enabler across continents, where we have to promote digital platforms, where we have to use cloud-based tools for collaboration. Case in point, ResearchGate, Mendeley. This will allow researchers from different regions to work together seamlessly. AI and big data. The use of AI for large-scale data analysis can be, engaged in shared global projects, such as genomics research or pandemic tracking across Africa, Asia, and Europe. AI and big data, good. They form part of the technology infrastructure that can help us in virtual collaboration, where we can highlight virtual conferences, webinars, and shared online platforms where researchers from different regions can collaborate. As I said, they look like very big ideas, but they should start at local level. Yes, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Google Meet, all those are possibilities where technology can be used as an enabler across these continents. We need to create inclusive research communities in the sense that we need geographical inclusivity by ensuring that researchers from developing regions in Africa and Asia are fully integrated into global projects. Eudoxia is one of those examples where we have people from more than 190 countries, and that is an opportunity to encourage collaboration across these continents. Culturally and in terms of gender inclusivity, we need to promote research that reflects the diverse cultures and experiences of all the three regions, particularly the underrepresented voices. So it is good to see that more and more participants are coming in and the genders seem to be balanced, which is also a very good feeling for one to have. But on at a global level, the African Network for Drug and Diagnostic Innovation, ANDI, which includes partners from Asia and Europe to tackle public health issues, is an example of where we can see this cultural and gender inclusivity. And that can also be reduced at the local level so that there is no side that remains underrepresented. I also want to move on and talk to, address building sustainable research networks. How can this be done? Others have already done it, or others are doing it, and others are yet to establish them. But we can have long-term collaboration where we encourage lasting partnerships through regular cross-continental meetings, shared goals, a development plan, and co-authored papers where we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 authors from different regions, each one contributing a certain aspect of the research project. We could also have mentorship, where our senior researchers from Europe, Africa, and Asia mentor early career researchers across regions and disciplines. That is a guarantee of the continuity of research and problem solving into the future. For example, the ongoing collaboration of Europe and developing countries clinical trials partnership, EDCTP, which unites European and African researchers for health-related trials. The previous speaker was talking about synthesis, processing, etc. But there is that important aspect, in my view, of trialing and seeing with different samples how, what is the response, for example. So, what is your role as participant in this conference and many others that are yet to come in the multidisciplinary and cross-regional research movement? What is the role? For researchers, I want to say that we need to join existing cross-continental projects or initiate new ones, even if it is starting a local chapter. A local chapter will have the structures, etc., so that when we need to apply for funding, it's more of a multidisciplinary grouping of researchers, and we might be looked at favorably by funders because it's not individual as such. Yes, let's continue to attend multidisciplinary conferences and collaborate on papers with colleagues from different regions, could be nationally and or internationally, as long as we are collaborating. It is the beginning of something good yet to come. For institutions, academic institutions can form partnerships with counterparts in Europe, Asia, and Africa, especially in research, where there's exchange, sharing of knowledge, exchange of individuals going over to learn a new skill and come back and share with the rest, and that improves our research capacity. For governments and policymakers who are here present, let's create policies and funding opportunities that support multidisciplinary research across continents. I am advocating for a deliberate approach to supporting multidisciplinary research across from a government and policymakers' standpoint. So, what does the future look like in cross-regional research? The vision here is to imagine a future where Europe, Asia, and Africa can work seamlessly together to solve the world's biggest challenges, from sustainable energy to pandemic preparedness now, not mitigation, although it is part of it, but preparedness. Well, in my closing thought, I think by leveraging our collective strengths, we can bridge divides and create a future where global research knows no boundaries. So, I want to thank you for your attention and simply hope that I have motivated you. I have continued the discussion, the conversation in terms of multidisciplinary research and building these communities a step at a time. Thank you very much for your attention.